It seems like Nintendo likes to do lots of strange things with their IPs, but one thing I can't deny that I love the most is when they take their forever 2D franchises and bring them into a new 3D environment, and it's something that makes me so happy because in general 3D games appeal to a larger audience and more people are interested in that style of gameplay, and that's exactly what HAL Labs did with Kirby, finally bringing it into the 3D world with Forgotten Land, and look at how well that game sold. Naturally, I started to go into the thought process of what other Nintendo IPs need to jump into the 3D space. Well, lots of them have in the past, like Donkey Kong for instance, which hasn't done it since the 64, but some of them have never been in 3D. And that's what leads me to talk about how we need a 3D Yoshi game. The Yoshi franchise has pretty much stayed the same throughout every single installment, at least with the mainline series. For the most part, it's either games with Baby Mario included, or games with just Yoshi and his other fellow Yoshis with a nice arts and craft feel to it, like Woolly and Crafted World. As far as Yoshi games go, they haven't sold anything monumental, but they have had some pretty good sales. Yoshi's Crafted World sold over 3 million on the Switch, which isn't bad at all, but the best-selling Yoshi game is still the original Yoshi's Island, selling 4 million copies, and they haven't passed it since. For a game that came out in 1995 to still be amongst the best-selling Yoshi games is kind of crazy. I guess it's also a testament to how good the game was back then. But it doesn't matter how many more Yoshi Island games Nintendo makes, or even if they make a brand new Yoshi's Island game for the Switch, I feel like it's still not going to sell as well as a full-fledged 3D Yoshi game would. And that is the direction I feel like they need to take. I mean, the closest thing we have to a 3D Yoshi game is the brand new Yoshi's Island themed track from Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, so I think it's time we see something in the vein of a 3D Yoshi. Now, real quick before we dive into this whole 3D Yoshi talk, I want to thank you guys so much because we actually did reach the goal last night of 200 subscribers yesterday. You guys are phenomenal. So let's see if we can even match that or get even higher today. You guys are amazing. We're on our road to 300,000 and it's all because of you guys. So if you enjoy Yoshi and want to see a 3D Yoshi, let me know by leaving a like and subscribing. Thank you guys, but let's get into the video. Now, what exactly would a 3D Yoshi game look like? Would it be something from Good Feel like Crafted or Woolly World? Would it kind of originate back to Yoshi's Island style? Would it be small, compact, more linear levels, or maybe even open sandbox style levels like Odyssey or even 64? Or would it even be a small open world for Yoshi to explore? Well, this is what I'm thinking. I want to use Mario 3D World, but specifically Kirby and the Forgotten Land as my pure example here, because I think a more condensed size, linear 3D platformer is the way to go, which will give you individual 3D levels to play through with some small open areas, but mostly just rushing from the beginning to the end with some collectibles hidden along the way as well. How could Yoshi work in an open sandbox style of 3D game? Absolutely. I mean, there's even a capture in Super Mario Odyssey that lets you become Yoshi, where he can walk around, eat fruit, use his tongue, flutter, and just the whole lot. So I could totally see a game where Yoshi's able to run around and have free control of the camera and just explore little terrains and little areas, as he's able to stick to walls with his tongue and even eat enemies up and even throw eggs, but in a 3D space. I think this would be perfect, but for the sake of this video, I still want to stick with something more safe, since it would be Nintendo's first official 3D Yoshi game. But what would this game be? Would it be a classic retelling of the Yoshi's Island story, or something more along the lines of Woolly or Crafted World, where it's just Yoshi in a arts and crafts style of environment? Well, personally, I would love to see a mixture of both styles. Imagine a Yoshi's Island game in the style of Woolly or Crafted World, but obviously now in 3D. So Baby Mario would make an appearance, but in an arts and crafts style. So obviously every time you complete a level, you'll also get to change Yoshi to a different color, ready to move on to the next level, same way as the 2D games. Imagine if every Yoshi had some type of special effect to them as well, based on their color. Like the blue one maybe could use ice and ice skate around the area, where the red one could breathe fire, and maybe that changes how each level is completed and also adds some depth into this moveset. But outside of these special abilities, for Yoshi's overall basic moveset, he can still do everything that he could in 2D. He can lick up enemies and even spit them out and create eggs that can be aimed and thrown in a 3D space. It would be more of a drag and aim, very similar to Crafted World, where you could throw things into the foreground and the background, so I think it would work fine in that same vein in a 3D space. Yoshi can also flutter jump and ground pound as well, and I personally wouldn't mind seeing a new move or two, like maybe some type of spin where he can actually spin his tail around like a tail swipe or maybe a kick. And yes, since Baby Mario is here, every time Yoshi takes damage, Baby Mario will fly around in that bubble like he does in a 2D space, but now all around the 3D area. Maybe sometimes faster, or different enemies will try to grab him and run away with him, which means you'll have to chase him down constantly in order to save Baby Mario. And if the timer runs out, of course Baby Mario gets taken to Baby Bowser's castle by Kamek. There could even be portions where Baby Mario can hop out once again and run on spikes holding the Yoshi egg like he does in Yoshi's Island, and of course the Yoshi's Island transformations. This would be really cool and kind of be like the mouthful modes from Kirby and the Forgotten Land, where in occasional areas you'll be able to transform into like helicopter Yoshi, or a jet ski down a river, or a submarine, or maybe a mole and dig underground, and lots of things like that would definitely add some variety to the gameplay. And for bosses, you'll once again have mid-bosses and final world bosses as well, which will give you around 6 to 7 worlds, which would be a total of around 12 to 14 different boss battles in this game, which would be pretty awesome. And you would probably see some classics now in 3D, such as Bert the Bashful and of course the Naval Piranha. As far as stage collectibles, it would still work really well in a 3D space. You will be able to collect 20 red coins, so collecting every coin you see is probably very essential, and there will be 5 special smiley flowers in each level that you have to find, and they could be hidden everywhere. They could be some easy ones to find, or a couple really difficult ones as well that has to cause you to explore the surrounding area a little bit more. Of course, you will end the level the same way by jumping through a goal ring and obviously giving Baby Mario to the next available Yoshi, and it will give you a stat board where you could also have to have a max amount of mini stars, which is pretty much Yoshi's life in this game, being 30 out of 30. Literally just taking everything that they have done from Yoshi's Island and translating it into 3D now. And maybe you can even use your coins and smiley flowers in order to get brand new costumes for Yoshi. Hopefully not the weird box things that they did in Crafted World. That just looks stupid to me. I'm talking more along the lines of the designs we gotten, like for instance in Woolly World, where they were based off of different characters from Nintendo, or just really cool patterns. I think that would be cool. Or maybe just some straight outfits, like giving Yoshi a hat and a shirt and some pants or new colored shoes. Something along those lines would be cool. Overall, I think a 3D Yoshi game would just make too much sense. I think it would be absolutely awesome to be able to move around a 3D environment as Yoshi, whether it is a full camera panning 3D sandbox style game like 64, Sunshine, or Odyssey, or if it's something more condensed like Mario 3D World, the Galaxy series, or maybe even Kirby and the Forgotten Land. But whatever they decide to do, and if it's Yoshi's Island themed or maybe a Crafted World theme, I think it would look great. Running around a Yoshi's Island in 3D would be phenomenal, or even running around a full arts and craft felt and wool filled world would just be really cool in a 3D environment. So we're just gonna have to wait and see what Nintendo has up their sleeves, and I'm sure eventually one day we will get a beloved 3D Yoshi game. But let me know in the comments down below, how excited would you be for a 3D Yoshi game, and what other things would you like to add that I brought up today? Thank you so much for tuning in, and like always, I'll see you all on the next one. See ya, guys.